My duty here again. I've just landed in Jakarta, Indonesia, and I'm here for my 5 day quarantine before I go over to Makassar. So let's talk about what my flights were like and the new quarantine situation when you get here. How easy was it? And let's get straight into it. So no messing about. Let's start off with the UK. That's my home destination that I started from. And basically, I use a company called expresstest.co.uk, which is around most of the major airports within the UK to get your PCR test and you're fit to fly. Now, excuse me. Now, basically, I panicked because by about 5 o'clock, the day before I fly, and I had to leave the house by 12 o'clock, and I was panicking because I still hadn't had my test results through. So by about 6:30, I finally got them. I was speaking to a few people in the airport, and they had the same situation, that basically they got their tests really late. Now, when I got my test, I printed it off and I looked at the certificate. Obviously, I checked it was negative first, but I checked the certificate. And do you know what wasn't on there? The QR code. So I rang up Express Test. Now, when you make a booking with Express Test, there's nowhere that says about a QR code. It says we'll send you your certificate and QR code once you've done the test and everything. So the operator or the customer service handler straight away blamed me for not checking out the QR code. So I says to him, I need this done. And he goes, oh, you need to go online and fill out the form in order to get your QR code. So basically, I filled out the form, sent it off. 2 hours later, they said, are you sure you actually need it? And I'm like, yes, I need it. I need it to get into Indonesia. And he goes, so I had to explain to them that I needed it because I won't be chasing up for my QR code if I didn't need it. Now, other companies just give you the QR code. So basically, my journey started off very stressful straight away. So eventually, I finally got my QR code about half an hour before booking opened up. You know what I mean? Well, check-in opened up. So I'm sorry about the lighting here. I'm trying to do my best with what I've got. So basically then, I finally got my QR code, and basically it was a rush then because in order for me to check in, I needed to have my, Pedilili Dungan, that thing. You know what I mean? So you had to fill out your EHAC form and then place it onto the contact tracing app. I'll just call it that for now because you'll know what I mean just by that little, whatever, the Pedilingi Dungi, So basically, when I went in to check in, I had to show her my travel insurance, my visa. I had to show her my EHAC. Now, what I didn't know was when you click on, you have two apps. You have your EHAC and the contact tracing app. When you fill out your EHAC form, for some reason, I tried logging back into the EHAC app, and basically I couldn't get in. So I was struggling at the check-in to find it. And what you have to do is you have to go into your contact tracing app, and then at the bottom there's like a little your EHAC form. Click on that, and obviously you've got to fill it all out. So you can only fill out so much because obviously you don't know your seat number until you check in. So anyway, I filled all that in and finally got in. So it took me around half an hour to check in at Birmingham Airport. Once I got everything up and running, I did have to stand to the side to let another customer go through while I was sorting out my contact tracing app. But they basically, how thorough was it? Not really. You just show them a bunch of QR codes, they just look at it and say, yeah, you know what I mean? So then basically, I give myself about half an hour to an hour when I finally went in through to security, and believe me, I was quite shocked how busy Birmingham Airport was. I've never seen it so busy at that time of the morning. You know what I mean? I tend to get early morning flights anyway. So basically it was absolutely chock-a-block, especially for people that are using Jet2. If you're using Jet2, right, and if you're flying anywhere from Birmingham Airport, I suggest you get there very early because the queues were from, so if you know Birmingham Airport at all, Zone A was queued up all the way down to Zone C to get to the Jet2 holidays. So if you were with them, make sure you get there plenty of time early and get yourself in that queue as soon as possible. So anyway, moving on, I went through security. Security, that took me another half an hour because obviously I took a load of electric equipment with me. So in my backpack, I was carrying my desktop PC, which most people are like, why don't you use a laptop? I prefer PCs. PCs are better for me. So I had to then get my entire bag emptied. So it had all my hard drives in it. It had my PC in it. I had to completely empty it. I had to completely empty everything out. And then basically I had to refill it all back in again. And you know, this security have gone horrible there. They used to be really nice and pleasant, but they seem to be training a bunch of new people that are just not nice. But anyway, it's Birmingham Airport for you. So then you go through into the gate itself, and basically there's no kind of, it's, you know, lawless around there. As soon as the gate opened up, there was just like an imaginary queue. So basically it started off as one queue, and then some other people decided to make their own queue and made that the main queue. So I don't know, but anyway, they checked all your details again before I went into the actual gate to then board. So I finally got through that, which then I had to show all my QR codes again. And then basically, also I must add, I'm flying through Amsterdam. And I had to download then, even though I was transiting, and I wasn't staying in Amsterdam, but I had to print off the, scan the QR code app for the Dutch Netherlands. The Netherlands, aren't they? Norwegian, yeah. So the Amsterdam app, basically for statement of quarantine, even though I'm not going to be tested while I'm there, I'm not going to be there. So I don't understand why they're doing that, but it is what it is, and they won't let you on board until you have that. So anyway, moving on. So I had to do all that. I've gone onto the gate. I then finally got boarded onto my plane, which my plane was absolutely packed from top to bottom, packed, and I was the only person who did have someone sitting next to him. So it was like happy days. It's only an hour flight anyway. So we flew into Amsterdam, and we was delayed because some people decided to get drunk and have a fight, and so basically they got kicked off the plane. To then wait until the plane baggage got emptied to take their baggage off and then get reloaded back on again. So it's been an absolute nightmare, just, you know, because people drinking at stupid times in the morning, and what's the point? But anyway, it is what it is. You're moving on. So we took into the air, nice easy flight, landed, an hour long, nothing major, nothing special. You know, you get a drink, a muffin, and what else did I get? Just a drink and a muffin, I think. Nothing extravagant. You know what I mean? So I get into Amsterdam, and I got in there late, but I had plenty of time for my connecting flight. I had originally 3.5 hours, but by the time I got there, I had 2 hours and 45 minutes till my next flight. So it was E21. So where I got off, obviously in Amsterdam, you jump off onto a bus, they drive you to the main terminal thing, they chuck you in. You then go up the stairs, you then head to, like for me, it was E21, which is the opposite end. So it took me again another 10-20 minutes to get to the opposite side. You know what I mean? I wasn't exactly walking fast, so it gets to the other side. You know, get myself to E21, find out where I needed to be, sat there waiting. At the time, I was the only one there. And then basically about an hour later, some staff turned up for Garuda and all that, and they started filling out forms and walking around and doing whatever, and then the queue started getting bigger. And then eventually they called out a bunch of names, and my name was mentioned on that. So they said to come up to the desk. So there's a queue there of these several people, including myself, that have been called up to the desk people. I don't know what you call them. You know what I mean? So I went up, and then this really stroppy woman comes over and says, "You all need to sit down." And I looked at her and was like, "Oh, why did you call us up if you're going to tell us to sit down?" So, you know, by this time, I mean, I'm not in a very happy mood because I'm already tired and there's a lot that's gone on before I'd even got to this stage. It's been a stressful time. So then I sat down, you know, twiddling my thumbs, and then 10 minutes later, she's looking around saying, "Well, where's Mark then at? You know what I mean? So I'm like, yo, I'm here. I'll come up to you and you tell me to sit down, and now you're moaning because you told me to sit down and now you want me. So I've gone up to her and it's like, well, what do you want? You know what I mean? So as soon as I started, she was being quite aggressive towards me and I'm starting to be aggressive back, and that was it. She turned nice as pie. And I'm like, that's all right then, Ducky. You know what I mean? Just, what do you want? She's like, I need to recheck all your forms again. So not only has it been checked twice in Birmingham, it's then got checked a third time in Amsterdam to go through everything I've already done again for no particular reason. And and it's like, okay, you're fine, just sit down. And I'm like, right. And basically another big thing was this the Amsterdam app thing, that in order to get in the country for quarantining. Well, I ain't been tested for anything while I'm in Amsterdam. You know what I mean? So why? What's the point? You know what I mean? So again, pointless. So eventually I got onto my flight to Garuda in Amsterdam with Garuda Indonesia to Jakarta. Was the flight busy? No. 90% of the occupants on the plane were Indonesians, which I'm quite surprised about. And basically it was empty. There's not many people there at all. I'd say in each section there's probably about 15, 25 different people there, if that. I had the row to myself, so I do what all normal people do on a night flight, and that's basically you lift all the seats up and you make a giant bed out of all the seats. Nice. You know what I mean? But anyway, so the flight itself with Garuda, which I was quite disappointed, and I will be straight up with this, I was disappointed. First of all, the TV, it was basically 15 films that are quite old. I've already seen them a million times. I've seen them on previous flights that I've done 2-3 years ago. TV series, there's like 2 different shows, and the rest is all like travel, like visit Beijing, visit Jakarta, visit Bali, visit Singapore, stuff like that. And I'm like, okay. And the Young Sheldon, I like Big Bang Theory. Not so much about Young Sheldon, but it was something to watch. But they're 20 minutes long, and it's a season I've already seen because I watched it on the plane last time. So it was like pointless. The movies were terrible, really bad. Scooby-Doo, Lego film, kids films, lots of kids films. And the only 2 films that weren't kids films was Aquaman, which I've seen a million times, but it's a good film. I like Aquaman. And the Suicide Squad, not the new one, the old one. And it's like, okay, it's an alright film. Alright, no, I'm not going to say it's alright, no, it's crap. But, it is what it is at the end of the day with that one. So, anyway, right, bearing in mind, I've been travelling for 26 hours. We had a hell of a lot of turbulence coming into Jakarta, which is normal. If you know what it's like to fly into Jakarta, turbulence is quite high. You're guaranteed a lot. I mean, at one stage, it was just like all the way down. I was like, yeah, happy days. So, right, one thing I'm quite surprised with was face masks. I'm choking by this point because my face masks are all in my other bag. And I've had one face mask covering, not in Birmingham, not in Amsterdam, not on the flights with KLM nor Garuda was I given any more face masks. At one point I give up and just held my face mask under my chin, and then if I went to speak to like one of the stewardesses, I'd put it over my mouth as I talked, because I wasn't getting a fresh mask. I've been wearing the same one for the longest point was 26 hours, and it's like, they're uncomfortable as it is anyway. So, what can you do? I mean, they come around now and again and give you like a little face wipe. Food, quite surprised. Now, Garuda's always had good food. Now, don't get me wrong, the food was tasty, but the quality of the meat and the quantity of it has certainly shrunk. I hardly got any meat. It's like I had, what did I have? I had, it was like lemon rice, broccoli, and it was like not a katsu, but it was kind of like a katsu beef kind of thing. You know, the meat was rather thin. You didn't get much of it. You know what I mean? So I was quite disappointed with the food in the sense of the quantity. All right, you don't eat that much while you're in a plane, but at the same time, you kind of expected a bit more meat than what there was. There was literally like a little tiny spoon of meat, and it's like, I like my meat, and I like to mix it in with my rice. You know what I mean? I don't like plain rice, but the rice was fantastic, really nice. And the coffee, and that was nice. The KLM flight, the coffee was disgusting. Now it said Dow Egberts on it, and I'm thinking this don't taste like Dow Egberts. It's tasted like really really nasty cheap coffee. You know what I mean? Some cheap coffee's fine, but this was like the nasty stuff, and I'm thinking this ain't Dow Egberts. What did it have? A coconut maroon, I think it was called. That was nice off KLM. So you know, so food wise, disappointing. Didn't get much. Mask wise, I didn't get fresh ones. I live in the UK. I don't wear a mask at all. You know what I mean? We're not forced to wearing masks. So I was quite surprised that, you know, when you're going through different countries and they always say, we'll provide you masks for your entire journey, which they don't. So unless you specifically ask for them, you ain't going to get them. So I land into Jakarta later than expected because of all the turbulence. And this is where it gets fun. I didn't expect it to be like this. Right. You get off the plane. Always in Jakarta, you seem to be walking for miles. So you do what normal people do and follow everybody else. I follow everybody else. Had a quick stop along the way to have a piddle and get myself a trolley because my bag weighed so much. I'll put it on the trolley. And I'm scooting down the airport. And then I start seeing kiosks. So there's like a little kiosk with like rows and rows of chairs. So think of like a church sermon. It looks a bit like that. So, you know, I go to the first bit and a guy checks my passport and boarding pass. He gives me a QR receipt and he goes to the first chairs. So I then goes to the first chairs, sat there waiting, and then the officer said, come. So, come. I toodled on to the next bit. I'm looking around, like, where am I going now? And then another guy points to a chair, so I sit on the chair. And then a nice little lady comes. She says, can I have your boarding pass and passport? I give her that. She scans my QR code thing. She gives it me back and says, next section. Right, so it goes to the next section. Sit down. Then they go, you know, so they then took me to the next empty space. I went to the next empty space. He goes, your vaccines. So you have to show them your PCR test before you flew and your vaccines that you've taken as well. So you have to have both. Must be both, not one. You know what I mean? Must be both of any kind that they recognise kind of thing. So then I showed her that paperwork. She scanned my QR code. I had to go to these army people. They scanned my piece of paper again. I then went through, and then basically I had to sit down and give this woman. She asked for my hotel booking reference and my PCR again and my vaccine again. And she checked it. She scanned my little piece of paper, and then I had to go into another line. And then after this line, I then got my PCR, and then basically I come out of my PCR test. I then had to go to the normal immigration check-in as you normally do. So I went to my normal immigration check-in. Now, my folder's like this thick with paper. It's got everything I need on it, of everything I've checked. And basically, I give him my B211A visa because I give him the pile. He said, everything's in there. Knock yourself out. So give him my passport, my boarding pass, and my visa. He was there typing away. Just looked at the visa, just made sure it was valid. It must be online as well, so he could check it and see it was fine. Stamped me in, sent me off. So then you go to your baggage claim, which then because as soon as you go through immigration, you have to leave the trolley behind to then go through immigration to then pick up another trolley. Why not? So anyway, I get to my bag. I then go through. You go through the security thing where there's like 10 Indonesians watching this screen, and it's like, okay, so they're really on top with anything that's in your suitcase. So don't make the mistake that I did, and basically I brought extra bottles of wine, and basically, there's a litre limit. Don't push your luck on that. You'll only take in a litre. Trust me. You know what I mean? So basically, I had to leave some of it behind because they wouldn't allow it. So to be honest, I never checked with the alcohol. The usual like cigarettes and stuff. Like liquids, stuff like that. If you're taking over a certain amount of value, if you're taking a certain amount of cash, you know what I mean? That after a certain point, you have to declare these kind of things. So I did that, walked through, everything was fine. You know what I mean? Once immigration confiscated some stuff off me, I've gone through then into the next part is, then this bit really frustrated me, was the hotel pickup. So you have a guy that will run up to you, Mister. You know what I mean? As they do, he says, passport, QR code, QR code, scans it. He goes, hotel. So you give him the piece of paper or the QR code from your hotel. I printed mine off, so it's there. Because you can never know whether you're going to get tint in that or not. So anyway, he scans it. He says, your guys are not here. You must sit. You must wait. Okay, so I sat there for 2 hours. 2 hours. And then all of a sudden, there's a little screen that has PCR tests. And then as soon as that filled up with negatives and all that, people were just flying at you. You know what I mean? Some people were just taken straight away, and others were like, oh, you need to wait, you need to wait, you need to wait. And you wait there for like a long time. They sat me next to this other gentleman. He was also, he must, same hotel as me. So then basically, as soon as my results came in, they let me in, kind of thing. Which is, it's insane how you come from a green country, fully vaccinated with a negative test, and you've still got quarantine in a red country. Who knows? You know what I mean? It's their rules. So you follow them, innit? So I goes outside, you know what I mean? They sent us in separate cars. They take pictures of the cars. They take pictures of you. Believe me, they constantly take pictures of it. And when you get to the quarantine bit for the hotels and that, they will take your passport off you, and they'll take the QR code piece of paper off you. So I mean, I panicked at one point because I'm still pretty tired, you know what I mean? I forgot that I'd already given my passport and that, so I thought, it took me a while to realise that after I had a short bit of a panic. But yeah, because, most people, you don't let your passport go out your sight, you always know where that thing is. So anyway, they stick us outside, he takes photos of myself, obviously, and the car, my passport, the QR code thing. They take several pictures of you along the way. Don't feel nervous about that. If you don't like your photo being taken, it's kind of tough. You'll have it taken a lot. So then, basically, I got driven to the hotel. I had no conversation whatsoever with anyone. You know what I mean? I finally gets to the hotel. I go to the reception bit, and then this guy comes running at me. Oh, mister, come with me, come with me. And just chucked it. I'm like, into this elevator. Am I coming with you or what? And he's like, yeah, come with me. Because he said, I take bag. So I gets up the elevator, gets in. I'm just following this guy. I ain't got a clue what's happening. And then I got chucked in my room. I'm like, right, okay. And I'm looking around like, what's going on? So basically, from the moment you get off in Jakarta, you kind of really have no conversations, and you try and speak to someone there, and it's like, go there, you must go, here, go. That's it. That's what you get. So just you've got to improvise with a lot of it. So basically, paperwork is a nightmare, especially if you've got lots of it like I did, because obviously I've got my normal paperwork to get into the country, and I've got all my wedding paperwork mixed in with it, as well as my government paper that I need to take to the embassy. So I've got stacks of paper, and it's like, next time it's my own fault, obviously, for being so. I was organised, but I wasn't organised to a point where it was really decent to be organised. So anyway, let's cut a long story short, me waffling on, you don't want to hear this. But anyway, so I get into my quarantine hotel. I've been told nothing about food, nothing about clothing or anything. The room itself, because I'm at the Aston, and the room itself is nice, except for I've got this giant concrete bloody block right in the middle of the windows, so in the day there's no light. But anyway, how long did it take me to get through all this? It took me 4 hours. Well, about 4.5, 5 hours it took me to get through, and that was me on a flight that I landed at 6:30 in the morning. So I dread to think what it's going to be like if you come during the day when lots of flights are coming in at once. Because when I was walking down to go to like the first set of people that give you the QR code, is basically there's kiosks everywhere, and I mean everywhere. So I mean, expect a long it's not straightforward. You will not be in and out. You might do, I don't know, it depends on the look of the day really, but from my experience today, it was long, it was stressful. You don't really know what's going on most of the time. You're just showing people paperwork that you've showed 1,000,000 times, so get expected to show 1,000,000 people the same pieces of paper constantly, and then they'll ask you the same sort of questions, and you're like, it's there. You know what I mean? Get used to that, because my NHS app is a nightmare to show people, because this one was like, you've only had one jab. I'm like, no, you have to press the button to see the second jab. You know what I mean? And it's like, well, why didn't you show me the second jab? You didn't actually specify. So you'll deal with a lot of RC people, because it seems like the airport staff at the moment are stressed or just really annoyed at people. And it's like, if people didn't fly, you wouldn't have a job. So cheer up a bit and be nice to people. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. So yeah, my quarantine videos will be up at some point. I think for the moment I'm just going to be filming off my phone and uploading temporarily, because I don't have a laptop. I use a desktop PC. I mean, I got in my hotel room, I got all excited because I had an actual travel plug, because I don't buy travel plugs from the UK because they're crap and they never work. I've had nothing but bad experiences. But anyway, so I plugged in my computer and I thought, it turns out, I was like, yes. Then I looked under the TV and there's no HDMI or VGA cable, so I was gutted. So I won't be able to do proper videos. They will just be on my phone that I'll be uploading. So anyway, yeah, I'll do a video of my quarantine room and what the meals were like and stuff like that, and where it's gone to. But anyway, yeah, it took 8 hours for them to give me this. So when you come into Indonesia as well in your quarantine hotel, I don't know specifically what hotel does what, but in the Aston, basically 8 hours later, someone knocked my door, asked to put this on me and said, I want to see your vaccine and I want to see your test as well, your PCR test that you used to fly here. So again, you'll have to show the hotel that. So it's fun and games. I mean, is it worth the stress? For me it is, yeah, but it's been nothing but stressful. It's been long, it's been hard, but it's done now. I ain't got to do it again. I've just got to get these 5 days out of the way, fly to Makassar. I've got to fly back again a week later to here, but you know, it is what it is. But I'll keep you updated on all that. Don't want to hear me waffling now. So anyway, thanks, and like, share and subscribe if you like the video, and let me know your thoughts, or if you've got any questions, hit it in the comments below, or my social media links. Just let me know, and we'll get that sorted for you. Anyway, folks, have a good one. God bless.